Seattle knows football, and few eras lit up this city like the rise of the Legion of Boom. My next guest has covered the Seahawks for years. He's a reporter with The Athletic and co-host of the Seahawks Man-to-Man podcast, and now he's out with his debut book, The Franchise. It's a powerful look at the rise and fall of the Seahawks' most electrifying chapter and the players who really changed the game. And it's a must-read for the 12s, especially as we gear up for a brand new season. Welcome back to New Day, Michael Shawn-Dugar. We love having you. So excited. I just want to get right into it because we have a lot to go over. So you've covered the Seahawks as a journalist for years. Why did you decide you finally wanted to write a book, though?
I think football is a fascinating window into the intersection between football, sports in general, and just society at large. There's so many themes that are just prevalent in both spaces, whether you're talking about politics, sports, art. Really what it comes down to is people and their stories. And I think that's how we strengthen the connection between us as just people, is learning each other's stories. And I don't think there's any story more compelling in this region when it comes to sports than the Legion of Boom. And I really felt like now, after covering the team for so long, was the perfect time to tell that. You know, it's still fresh enough for everyone's mind here till you see a Richard Sherman jersey when you go to a game now. But we're kind of still far enough removed that people can kind of reminisce about it and still have that nostalgia. I just kind of felt like this was the perfect time for that.
Yeah, and the Legion of Boom specifically because of just the characters, the personalities. Explain.
Yeah, you know, everyone had a different walk of life that brought them to Seattle. You know, Marshawn Lynch is from Oakland, Richard Sherman is from Compton, Doug Baldwin is from Pensacola, Florida, Russ is from Virginia, Cam Chancellor, Virginia, Earl Thomas, Texas, Bobby Wagner, LA. Like, all these guys had a different path to the same goal, and what made them tick and their whys were all similar, despite the fact that they came from all over the country. I think that's really powerful because, again, that's not just a sports thing. That's everyone here on this show is probably from a different part of the city or part of the country, right? But you all come together for a different goal, or the same goal, every day. And that's just really powerful. And I thought that is something that we needed to explore beyond just all of the highlights. The highlights are on YouTube. The stories are in this book.
Oh, I know it's so true because we've been watching them for years on television. We feel like we know them, but you really dive in deeper in this book, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think football players are at a disadvantage from a lot of other athletes because they play with something that covers their face. So it's very easy to dehumanize them. And then you talk about fantasy football, you talk about gambling. They're seen more as commodities than people, as opposed to a baseball player. You can see them smile. You can see the frustration on their face when they strike out. Same thing with a basketball player who misses a free throw, right? It's in 4K. You can see them. Whereas a football player, you don't know what's going on. You can't see them. They're wearing visors. And I think it gets lost that that's a person in there. That's a dad, that's a husband, that's a nephew, that's a cousin, that's whoever. And I think the way they viewed each other as a dad, as a brother, as a friend, is why they were so great and why they were so compelling, not to just people in Seattle, to all over the world. You know, that's what made them so cool. It's like we got to know Marshawn as Marshawn. We got to know Russell as Russ without his helmet on. You know, I think that was really cool.
And speaking of Russ, I want to get to him. You've said the hardest part of this book was really cracking that Russell Wilson dynamic. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, Russ was a very complicated individual. He was trained from a child to behave as if someone's always watching. You know, he did press conferences when he was 7 with his father. He was trained to be a quarterback. And more specifically, or more broadly, I should say, he was trained to be a front-facing individual, no matter what that was, whether that's school principal, a politician, the quarterback, the mayor, whatever. He was just trained to behave as if there's someone watching. You know, one of the sayings he got from his father was, "There's a king in every crowd." You know, someone's always watching you. And in football, that can go a bunch of different ways, you know, because there are parts where, hey, there's no one watching. We're in the locker room. Just be one of the guys. And I don't think, because Russ was trained so well to behave as if he's always on, you know, when he was in spaces where he was supposed to be off, so to speak, like just be around the guys. Hey, we're all naked in here in a cold tub. Just be one of us, you know. I don't think he could be in a way that satisfied them, which I think that last part is important because we can all judge Russell. I can judge him as someone who's covered him and be around him, but it's what the guys in the locker room felt about him that made him so polarizing in the building.
Wow. Can you speak to that a little more about how the men in the locker room saw him, or is that a tease to read the book?
No, absolutely. I got to sell the book. So
okay, let's go.
Yeah, I think Russell had the gift and the curse of playing for Pete Carroll and next to Marshawn Lynch. And I say that because playing with them and for them is why he'll have a case for the Hall of Fame. You know, like 10-time Pro Bowler, champion, all these accolades. But the curse comes in the fact that those are two of the most authentic people you'll probably ever meet. Particularly Marshawn Lynch. Whether Marshawn Lynch is talking to you and me, or he's talking to Obama or Dr. Fauci, he's going to have the same Oakland vernacular twang to his voice. He's just going to be him. He's going to pull up in sweats and a hoodie.
So authentic.
Yeah, and Russ was the polar opposite. And I think that would have stood out no matter where Russ played, but it stuck out like a sore thumb when you're next to Marshawn Lynch, who is himself everywhere he goes, everywhere. The way he dresses, the way he walks, the way he talks was so authentic. And Pete Carroll is the same way. He's still the gum-chewing, Nike-wearing, fast-talking guy everywhere you go. And I think playing next to and playing for these authentic characters made his perceived inauthenticity just stand out a lot more. And I think guys just didn't take well to that. They loved Marshawn because he was so endearing and so true to self. And Russ was so counter to that, and it just stood out. And I think over time it just got harder for them to really rock with that.
Gosh, it makes perfect sense the way you explain it. That was beautiful. And chapter 29, the interception. I hate talking about this. It still stings. But what made you want to revisit that moment?
I think the humanity of the moment really deserved a lot of depth, because we can all watch it. We all did. Millions of people and saw an interception at the goal line in the Super Bowl. On its face, that is probably one of the most devastating moments you can have in sports history, really. And it's the nation's most popular sport, too. So millions of people watched that event. But it was the humanity of all the characters involved that made the story so powerful. To me, I give you Marshawn as a great example. Marshawn is in movies, he's in commercials, he's in TV shows, he's got his own stores, he's part owner of multiple sports franchises, right? He's done all these great things for his community, for his family, right? But when people see him in the airport, they run into him on the street, what do they say to him? Why didn't they give you the ball at the one?
Know.
Imagine that. You've done all these great things, and the thing that people associate with you most is the thing that you didn't do, or that you didn't get to do.
That makes me so sad for him, because I would just be so excited to meet him.
Right, exactly.
Because I feel like I know him from what you said. He's so authentic. I feel like he's a best friend. And
then look at it from someone like Ricardo Lockett's view, the target of the pass. Everyone complains about the play call. If you're Ricardo, you're like, wait a minute, I was about to catch the game-winning pass in the Super Bowl. That would have been the greatest moment of my life. The play call was great, and Ricardo was someone I spoke to for the book. And it's just all these different perspectives of that one play and what it shaped and how it shaped everyone's legacies was fascinating. That's before you get to a Doug Baldwin or a Russell Wilson or Pete Carroll, or Darrell Bevell, the play caller who made the decision to throw there. There's so many different personalities and stories that are shaped pre-interception and post-interception that really kind of define the era.
Amazing. Where can people find your book? Where can they find you? I mean, come on. How can you not want to follow you?
Yeah, I'm on every social media platform it feels like there is.
Perfect.
Blue Sky, Twitter, or X, whatever Elon's calling that these days, at Mike Dugar. And you can also follow my Seahawks Man to Man podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're also on YouTube. Seahawks Man to Man is the name of our channel. And last thing, you can get the book.
Yes.
Everywhere books are sold, all your local bookstores, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. Shoot, if you even just run into me somewhere, I always have them in my trunk of my car. You can buy them straight from me. I got Cash App, Zelle, everything, Venmo. I just want everyone to get the book. I worked on this for years, and I really want people to read it.
Well, you can feel your passion. I'm so excited to read this one. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.